now I'm in quarantine with Hannah May Fellows, who is the founder of Heretic Fest. Pleased to meet you, Hannah. How are you?
Hi, good to meet you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Now, you're only 23, but what you've accomplished so far is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So I've been reading a bit about you and a bit about your background. You've not long finished university.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us where you were studying and what you studied?
So I studied music performance and production at the Sheffield College. So it was a foundation degree and then a top-up year. It was done through the Open University with the college tutors. So I had the same tutors from the BTEC right through until the end of my degree. I decided to stay there and do that because I already knew the tutors. I knew what sort of support they were giving. I didn't want to go to a big fancy university and do all that and totally redo everything that I already knew about where I was. I was quite comfortable just doing my own thing there. So, yeah.
So I understand that organising Heretic Fest came about as a result of your university studies.
Yeah.
So why don't you sort of tell us a bit about how that happened?
So in your final year, you either do a dissertation or a major project, and Heretic Fest was my final major project. I was the only person in the whole, across the whole degree for as long as it's been going on that wants to do the business side of things. So there's the producers and the performers, but no one that really wants to do like tour managing or organising, that artist liaison, that type of thing. So I sort of had to do it all on my own. I had to go and learn everything myself. There was no part of the course that told me what to do. And when we had the reviews to see what we wanted to do for the major project, they said that it was too big and that I was stepping into some shoes that were too big for me. And I was like, we'll see.
So was it your idea? Sorry to interrupt you. Was it your idea to do the festival then?
Yeah.
To put on? And what made you come up with that? What was the thinking behind it?
So in the second year of the BTEC
course,
you have to come up with a business plan. So that can be selling custom drumsticks or custom guitars or whatever. And I was like, I want to put a festival on. And you don't have to go through with the plan or anything. You just have to write the plan out and come up with the ideas and do the whole business plan, how it's going to make money and stuff like that. And I was 19 when I did that. And I thought, well, the business plan's there now. I might as well start it. And I tried to get some bands together and do it all them years ago. But at that time, I didn't really know anyone in the industry, so people weren't really taking me seriously. I was just a name that came from nowhere, and I wanted to put a festival on, and people were like, well, where have you come from? We don't know who you are. So I decided to scrap that and to spend the next few years building up my networking, getting to know people in the industry, volunteering at venues, working with bands, working at festivals, that sort of thing, and just getting to know people. And then when it came to the degree again, the perfect opportunity was there for me to try again and to do it for the major project. So I was like, well, I'm going to try again. And this time people took me a lot more seriously because I'd started getting a bit of a name. People were actually meeting me in the industry this time. So it's gone really well.
Wow, and I understand that you were scouted at Rambling Man Fair. So tell us about how you sort of came to be at Rambling Man. You mentioned you've been to a few festivals, you were networking. So how did that come about, and how were you scouted?
So the first ever time I volunteered in the industry working as artist liaison was actually at Corporation, which is where Heretic's going to be held. I was looking after some bands for Winter Rocks Festival, which was Skindred, Stonebroken, Wayward Sons, the Amorettes, that type of crowd. And I got talking to the tour manager for Stonebroken at the time, called Felicity Hall. And she's been amazing. She's been 100% backing me up on everything. I've only met her once. She's absolutely incredible. And I asked her for some work experience, and so she put me on to Rambling Man. And from there, I was just like, this might be make or break for me, so I'm going to put everything into it that I have. It was for 3 or 4 days of 18-hour shifts. So I was looking after all the bands, making sure that they had all the riders and just making sure that they were happy, getting to stay on time, driving golf buggies. that kind of thing. And so while I was there, I was talking to lots of the bands, networking again, saying, look, I want to do this festival next year. Do you fancy playing? And a few of them were like, yeah, let's talk to my agent. And I got talking to this agent, and then he needed to get something from one of the shops. So I took him to the shop, and we just got talking about what I was doing at university and how I need work experience and that kind of thing. And he was like, oh, well, I'll help you out. And I knew who he was, but I didn't know quite how big he was at the time. And a few months later, I got an email of someone at Festival Republic saying that they wanted me to work major festivals across Europe as artist liaison because I'd been recommended to them, and that was a big surprise.
Yeah. Very nice surprise.
Yeah.
So are you doing that now? And are you?
Well, I was hoping to, but coronavirus kind of got in the way of that.
Yeah.
Because I think that happened towards the end of August last year, and obviously that's the end of festival season. So I was hoping that this summer was going to be the summer for me doing that. I'd have been back at Rambling Man, hopefully would have got a few more. I tried to get to Bloodstock, and then obviously would have had some from the Festival Republic recommendation, but obviously coronavirus has kind of ruined that for me this year, but hopefully next year.
Yeah, and tell us a bit more then about Heretic Festival itself. It's a 3-day event.
Yeah.
You mentioned where it is. When is it going to be, and who have you got playing?
So the event is on the 30th of April to the 2nd of May. Originally it was only going to be 1 day, but when the cancellation came through, I didn't just want to say to people, oh, it's postponed until next year, sorry for the bad news, and it all just be bad news. So I was like, right, how can I make people really happy, and how can I make this memorable, even though it's not even happened yet, it's not had a chance to get its feet off the ground. So I decided straight away that I was going to go for a full 3 days. So the Friday is cut in half. The Friday is the original lineup, but half of the lineup has been spread across the weekend because obviously people are at work on Fridays. So I didn't want half the day to have no one there for the bands. I wanted everyone to have a decent crowd, you know. So I split the bands across the weekend, and I got it all in place, ready to announce. And so I announced it at the same time as the postponement, just to keep people's spirits up. And it's the most positive reaction that I could have hoped for. I thought everyone was going to be really disappointed because it had been postponed, but adding those extra dates just gave something a little bit more for people to look forward to. So on the Friday we have Inglorious and Raven Eye are the top two on the bill. We have Stonebroken and Aaron Buchanan on the Saturday. We have Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons on Sunday, with the main support to be announced soon, which I'm very excited about.
This is what I was going to ask you as well, whether you've got any more bands still to be announced.
Yeah, there's still 4 more bands to
still
be announced.
4, okay. And when are we going to hear about that?
I'm just waiting on the last confirmation, but hopefully the 1st of October, which is the day after the competition ends for the 2 weekend tickets to be won.
Right. Okay, so you're holding a competition at the moment. Yeah. When can people enter until?
So you can enter that until the 30th of September, and that'll be drawn on the day of the announcement, so the day after, if the announcement goes ahead on that day, hopefully.
Yeah.
So yeah, all you have to do for that is go onto the Facebook page, find the post that is the competition, like, share it, and tag 3 friends, and just tag 3 friends that you think would enjoy it, so that then they would do the same, and then you'll all be put into a hat, and I'll draw a name out, and you win 2 weekend tickets to Heretic Fest.
Right. And have you had many people helping you with the organisation? Because a 3-day event, I mean, it's quite something. I've seen what goes into the organisation at some of the bigger festivals, and it sounds like it's going to be a pretty big festival. So
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Have you had much help?
I have a friend that comes along if I need just some support. So she'll come and, like last week, we were shortlisting all the bands that had applied for the last 4 spaces. So she came and helped me do that, and we looked through the social media and all that sort of stuff, all the different criteria of what we need from the bands to be shortlisted. And she helped me with that, and she's just sort of the voice in my head saying, yeah, you're making the right call, you're doing the right thing. And she helps me distribute flyers and stuff as well in different cities.
It's basically just the two of you, mainly you and your friend stroke assistant. Wow, that's incredible. And what about on the day itself?
On the day itself, I think it'll probably be mainly me, and then again she'll be like
on the day, the weekend,
weekend, literally. Yeah.
That's going to be incredible. So,
yeah, I just want everything to be perfect, and I know it inside out. So the best way for that to happen is if I'm doing the stuff, and I trust Elisa. She's great. She's really great. But she's only young. She started doing events management at university, and so it's kind of like work experience for her. So she's like me a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice.
Kind of shadowing you in a way.
Yeah.
Going back to the lineup you've got, how do you actually go about choosing the bands? I mean, I assume, well, like you mentioned, some of them you asked directly if they would, come and play your festival. Others must have applied to you once they heard about your festival. So how did you choose then? I mean, if you had hundreds of applications, for example, what were your criteria?
So the criteria was, do they sound good? Okay. Do they look good on stage? What's their following like? And are they going to work hard? So, you can be the best band in the world, but if you're not going to push your gigs and you're not going to really care about it, then that's not helpful for anyone. So I do base a lot of it off people's attitudes and what they want out of their careers, because I've worked really hard for mine, and I would much rather support someone else who's working really hard for theirs than the best musician in the world that doesn't really care.
Is it obvious? I mean, can you tell when you get these applications which of those bands? Because the other criteria are easy. Do they have a following? What do they look like? That sort of thing. How do they sound? Those are all quite easy to judge. But whether they're actually going to put the effort in that is required, is that a bit of a gamble sometimes?
Sometimes, but I mean, some of the bands were sharing Heretic stuff before they'd even contacted me, before I'd even contacted them. And it wasn't even to say, we really want to play this. It was to say, oh, this looks really cool. It'd be nice to play it. And you can tell by how hard they're pushing things in different groups as well, and how the fans are reacting to that, because
social media.
Fans don't react to things unless the bands are really keeping on top of their stuff. And there's a lot of work goes into that. So if I'm hearing about a band on social media, it's because they're really trying hard. And there's a band called Rocket Dolls who are playing on Sunday, and they're fantastic. They're so good. Yeah, they're so good, and they definitely deserve more credit than they're getting, and they work really hard for it. And I've put them quite high up on the bill because I think they're worth it. And I've had a few people say,
that's where they deserve to be, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, in my eyes, that's where they deserve to be. And I've had a few people saying, oh, they're quite high on your bill. And I'm like, yes, that's where I want them to be. That's where I think they deserve to be. It's my festival, and I believe in them. So I'm going to put the bands that work hard and that I believe in higher up. Because,
of course.
If people didn't do that with me and give me a chance, then I wouldn't be here now.
Are you hoping to make this an annual event?
Yeah, definitely.
What of the festivals that are currently in existence would you compare it to, sort of, most in terms of the kinds of bands that you put on? And
well, a very, very scaled back download would be ideal.
Yeah.
So a mix. I want eventually to have a mix of everything. Obviously, this year it's a lot more new wave and classic rock style, but I do want to expand that in the future and have different days with different styles, have some heavier bands, and have a nice mix of it. Obviously, Bloodstock's quite a lot heavier, and Call of the Wild's obviously quite new wave, and Rambling Man as well. So I guess
bit of a mixture of everything.
Yeah. I've been to different places and I've seen what I like. I know exactly what I want for mine, and I've taken bits from everything.
What's next for you career-wise? you know, the festival aside, although, you know, obviously if that goes from strength to strength, that will be, I suppose, a large part of your career. But what's next? What were you planning on doing sort of initially? Is there like a goal?
Yeah, well, I have two main goals. One of them is to have my own festival, and the other one is to tour manage. So I was hoping to start that this year. But obviously, again, coronavirus has happened, and there's
not a great year for that.
But hopefully next year there'll be a lot of tours and not enough tour managers. So hopefully I'll be able to do that next year.
All right. Well, I mean, you know, you're working for a record label as well.
Yeah.
So you've got plenty going on, and I wish you all the very best with it, with your career, with the festival. You know, you're doing everything. It sounds like, you know, textbook career, basically. You just left uni, you've already got this going. It's absolutely incredible, and I think you're a fantastic you know, example of how things should be done in this industry, and what you can achieve if you put your mind to it and you have a goal and you really say to yourself, no, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it my way, and that is exactly what you're doing. So I think it's fantastic. Thank you. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm sure we'll bump into one another.
Yes, you have to come to Heretic.
Yes. Well, I will discuss that with you. Anyway, lovely meeting you.
Yes, you too.
And give that staffy of yours a big cuddle from me.
I will.
Take care, Hannah. Lovely to meet you.
Bye. Bye.
This is rock and roll, burning out to my soul.